Hi not board gamers, and welcome back to Not Board Gaming. I'm your host, I'm Mark. Now in today's video we're going to be looking at a game which hits Kickstarter on the 11th of October. The link will be in the description below. And that game is this here, and it's called Flame Fang, and it comes to us from MVP Studios. Now, you may not have heard of MVP, but you'll have certainly heard of the names behind it. You see, it's designed by Kelley and Peter Gousis. That's right, Michael and Peter from One Stop Court Shop. Now, I'm very good friends with Kelley, so take this preview with all the kind of bias that's going to be in that. But Michael was good enough to give me a copy of Flame Fang when I met him at Gen Con earlier this year. So what is Flame Fang? It's a 1 to 4 player game. That's right, you can play it true solo if you want to, where you will take you will play a dragon, or depending you play more with more people or more hands than dragons, on a series of adventures going through this kind of storybook adventure deck. And what you will do is you're going to fight bad guys and fight the ultimate boss. You're going to get resources and become stronger. You see, there's a mild RPG element to it as well as you start to curate the deck of cards that you start with. So each dragon will start with a deck of 14 cards, and these are your actions for the turn. What you have to do is each card has a different, what's called an aspect on there. There's 3 of those, plus a wild, and I'll talk about them when I show you a bit of gameplay in a wee while. And you choose an aspect at the beginning of your turn, and then you get to play cards of that particular aspect to give your moves. So be they, for your actions, so be that you're going to move, or you're going to attack, or you're going to farm resources, etc. And the real joy in it comes in kind of working what cards you've got in your hand, what cards are left in your deck, and understanding what might come out next and how you get to play the game. As I say, it's broken up into kind of these storybook chapters. So I've got kind of chapter 2 set out here. And there's a number of chapters, and after most of the chapters, not every chapter, you unlock something different as well. So after the first chapter, you unlock traits. After the second chapter, you unlock magic. And I'm not going to spoil the rest for you, but there are a number of things that you can get to unlock, as well as a number of secrets. You see, there's a whole secret deck here as well, which means that every time you play it, you may well take a very different path. Or play your dragons, or build your dragons slightly differently as you're going through these adventures. And what you have to do, there's an event deck which effectively acts as a timer, and every round an event, you're going to read an event card, and it's going to spawn new bad guys on the board, etc. And it's going to get you closer to actually unveiling the baddie. You have to do certain things to unveil the baddie. They change on a chapter by chapter basis, so you may have to I don't know, collect a certain number of magic tokens, or you may have to defeat a certain number of bad guys, etc. And that will eventually unlock the baddie, which will add more events into your event deck and therefore increase the timer and give you a chance to defeat the baddie. When you completed a particular scenario, you then upgrade. If you can, or you will have upgraded throughout, basically. So you can grow your deck by buying cards that are in this particular row here. If you collect enough resources to do that, you can buy those cards, swap the card out from your deck for the new card, so you're always going to have a deck of kind of 14 cards plus your 4 life cards down here. Swap a card out that you bought for a card in your deck, and suddenly your deck can become stronger. So this real element of deck curation goes on. Play-wise, to learn, it's a breeze. It's a very simple game to learn to play, but it adds a lot of excitement and joy and challenge as you're playing through the game. The kind of unknown of what's coming next is really, really good. So, without much further ado, as I say, Flame Fang comes out on Kickstarter on the 11th of October. There we go, there's a box. The link is going to be in the description below. It's from MVP. It's Kelley and Peter Gousis game. Let's go down to the table and I'll show you a couple of rounds of how it plays and how quickly it plays. Okay, so down below you can see I've got everything set out for the second scenario in Flame Fang, coming to us from MVP, designed by Kelley and Peter Gousis. So what it does is it gives you this kind of storybook that you're going to work from, and here's the storybook for chapter 2 here. I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm not going to go through everything. It gives you a nice picture and then a bit of text about where you are. So here it says, you awaken to a strange sensation. It's like pulling in your guts. It's like a pulling in your guts, an urge to explore the West. It overrides your sense of caution and you take flight. Once outside, your senses grow more clear. Beacons of mystical energy are nearby, calling to you, offering power. So it says to shuffle the 15 magic tokens, which are these here. You don't play them in the first scenario, and place them face down supply, and then flip this card. Then it gives you the setup. So what it's done is it's given me the cave and the fortress where they need to go, and the rest of the tiles are randomly set out. So I've already done that there. So the setup will change for each game. Then it says here, depending on your player count, how many bad guys you're going to put out. I'm solo, so I've got one bad guy out, and then pulled this guy out. It's the Warden, and he's gone on to Mountain 2, which is this one here. And it says, add face-up magic tokens to each tile equal to the number of minions there. So I've added one face-up magic token to that tile. I'll explain how they work in a bit. Add 4 event cards. I've already got my 4 event cards here. Don't know what they are. And it says, flip this card. So we'll flip this card now. Then it says, here we go, so there's now some kind of game-changing rules that will happen. You must draw out the magical forces from the nearby beacons. A dragon may take the action, matching a magic token on their tile for no effect, to discard that magic token and place a quest token next to this card. So if I'm on there and I get to take that action, that means I don't actually get to do that action, I've just got to take it, and that is I'll show you that. That is a gather action. So if I take a gather action on that tile, I get to take that token, put it next to this card, and then I think, here we go, if I have 3 quest tokens next to this card, I may flip this card at any time. So this becomes a bit of a race because I've only got 4 events, and an event card is going to turn over each round as well. It also says after spawning, place 1 per person magic tokens face up on tiles with minions, divided as evenly as possible. If there are no minions, instead place 1 magic token on the stronghold. So each round I'm going to generate new ones, new magic tokens to go up there. When I've got 3 of them, I'm going to place quest tokens next to this card, and then I get to flip it and have a look at the bad guy. So we're all set up now kind of in where the game is going to be. We know what we need to do. I'm going to start in the cave, which is over here. I know I've got this this Warden over in Mountain 2, and others may well come on the board as well, so I've got to find a way of getting over there. So the first thing we're going to do, you start with a deck of 14 cards. We're going to draw 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, just at the beginning of your game, you can mulligan 2 of these cards, okay? But let's see what they are first. Also, I don't know if you can see them down here. I've got 4 cards, which are my life, basically. Every time I take damage, I'm going to get rid of one of these cards, but there are ways to get them back. And also, I don't know if you can see, I've chosen a green dragon here, which is emerald. There are 4 different dragons. It's got these horde spaces on here, okay? This is the amount of resources I can collect. There's 3 on this, and there's 1 on one of the life cards. Here we go, I'll just show you that because it's slightly off camera. So I can collect 4 resources. Resources are really, really important. We've got the kind of food one, which is the aubergine here. We've got meat, and we have coin as well. And they get to give you different things. So the coin one will, the meat one will allow you to draw a card. The aubergine looking thing, or eggplant if you like, is going to allow you to boost an action. I'll explain how it works. And your coin is going to allow you to convert. And the reason it says convert is because if we go through this here, it tells you exactly the order of play here. You're going to, on your player turn, choose an aspect, perform your actions, prep a card, and then recovery. And then it's the enemy turn where the minions go, the boss goes, you draw an event, and it's cleanup. So aspect is the first thing, and there are 3 aspects to choose from. You can see them here, and what you got is a little marker that you're going to place over one of those aspects. How do you know which aspect? Well, we're going to look at our cards. So if I look here, I've got cards from all of them. We've got the blue one here, which is essentially a move action. So if your top action, which you can take at any point, obviously if you play the card, and then the bottom one, which is a boost, and that's what you're going to use the kind of aubergine looking things for, is to boost that or discard a card of a same aspect. So that would allow me to move and then to gather. That would allow me to move and attack. If we look here, the red ones are generally attack. We've got attack and gather. We've got attack and move. And then we're on to the green ones, which generally gather. We've got gather and attack, and that's it. So I have my 6 cards there that I can choose. So I'm going to go on an aspect. Sorry, I need to choose an aspect to start off with. Let's see, I want to start thinking about getting over the board and potentially also kind kind of getting some resources as well. So if I look where I am, I think the best one for me to choose is going to be the blue aspect, which is, so I put the token on there, and I'm going to play this card, which allows me to move, and if I boost it, then allows me to gather. Well, I know if I gather, I get to draw another card, which might give me more on that. So let's do that. So we're going to play this card, which is going to allow me to move 1 square. I can do this in any order, by the way. I could boost the card first and then do that, or do that top action first. So I'm going to do the top action because I think I want, do I want meat? No, yes, I want meat. So we're going to play this. I might be playing suboptimal, which allows me to move into this realm here, but I still have this other action. I can't take it because I don't have any boost resources here, but if I discard a card of the same aspect, which is this one here, it will allow me to boost. No need for the attack yet, so we'll discard that card, and we're going to gather, which allows me to grab a meat token. There we go. Which allows me to draw another card, so I'm probably going to use that to draw another card. Now, if there was already a token on there, I would take that token plus whatever token is on that printed. If there's no other token on there, you just take the one that's printed. So let's do that now. I'm going to spend this card, or am I? Yes, I am. Okay, I'm going to spend this resource to draw another card. Now, if you've got enough resources, at the top here is your kind of growth ladder, if you like. And I've got 4 cards that I've put out here, and these are better cards, but they're all cost more resources than I've got at the moment. So here, you can see this one costs 2, but it gives me an attack and then play the top card of your deck, ignoring this aspect. This one gives me another life, but I need 4 resources. This one allows me to attack and move and boost to discard a card from my hand. It gives me another 3 resources. Oh, sorry, it costs really 3 resources. And this one allows me to move and do 2 attacks on the boost, but it costs 2. I don't have enough for any of those at the moment. So you have to kind of make that decision about, is it worth boosting or spending your resources now, or do you want to continue on your journey? Do you know what? I was going to spend that meat card to draw again, but I'm actually going to save that because these cards are sounding pretty tasty up here. So what you can do now is, if I had a card left in my hand with the same aspect I'm on, which is blue, I could prep that card. And that means I would put it to the right of my board. It doesn't count to your hand size. Your hand size is generally always 6. But it means I can use it at any point, obviously, if I'm in the right aspect. I'm not. I don't have any blue cards in my hand to prep. So we are going to discard that card. Okay. I could also discard a card from my hand of the same aspect I'm in, but there aren't any, and that's that. And I'm going to draw back up to 6, so 5 and 6, so I know my hand for the next turn. So that's my turn over. So now we go on here, and it's the minions phase. Okay, so the minion, we look on the minion card and see if there's anything on that card. And it says on there just to discard any hit points on this enemy at the end of the minion phase. Well, there aren't any. So I've still got to get there. I've still got to defeat that guy, but I need 3 to do it. That is still there. There's nothing else to happen in the minion phase. The boss isn't on the board. So now we go to the event card. So let's have a look at the first event. A being of pure insight awaits your return home. For 1 player, or all players here, 1 dragon on the cave may resolve 1 growth action at a -2 cost. So if I'd have stayed on there, and I knew about this, or I went back there, I could resolve a growth action and pay 2 resources less for any of those. But I'm not on that, and I probably won't be going back that way for a bit. Then here, for my player count, it says 1 player, add 1 bad guy. Okay, so we take from the bad guy deck 1 of the bad guys. And here we go, we've got a defender. Going in Forest 3, which is exactly where I am. Now, you can see that he's got an attack of 1, so it will deal me 1 damage on their turn if I don't defeat it. And it's got a defense of 2. That means I have to score 2 hits on it. And when it is defeated, it's going to drop a meat token on there. Wow, okay, so that's on there. And then clean up. There's no real cleanup to happen here because everything is as it should be. So now we go back into the next round. Okay, as you can see, it plays really, really easily. So now we're going to choose an aspect, and this is looking at what I've got. What have I got here? I could do a couple of hits. I could do a gather and a hit, and a gather and a hit, and I could do a move and a gather and a hit. Oh, sorry. One thing I meant to do is when you spawn one of these, you get to put one of those on there. There we go. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually... I do want to defeat this bad guy because it's going to drop stuff, but I don't have anything to spend to actually boost on here because I've only got this one here. So what we'll do is we're actually going to spend this token, and I'm going to get another card to my hand. So let's see what comes out next. Oh, it's an evolve card. Okay, you can see this has got a star on it. That means it's a wild card. This does me a favour, actually, from what I want to do. So, because... There we go. Yeah, I can do it. And I can take that token. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my aspect, which is going to be red. I'm going to play that hit and deal a hit to that bad guy. So there we go. That's one. The next action I'm going to do is I'm going to hit again, but I'm going to use this to boost it. Now I could prep this, or I actually perform this action, but I can't basically because I don't have anything according in my growth lineup up there. So I'm going to perform that, which gives me a hit. So that's 2 hits. I know I've defeated that guy now because he needed 2. Then I'm going to discard this card as a boost. It's a wild, so it classes the same aspect. So I can perform this bottom one here, which is to the move action, which I'm not going to take, but it allows me to effectively get rid of that magic token and put a quest token next to the card. So we're a third of the way there already. Now, this guy's going to get discarded, and he's going to drop a meat token on there. One. So if I was to gather as well, then I could get the meat token and go from there. So that is effectively the end of my turn. I can't... if we look next, it's prep. I can't prep any of these cards because they're not the same aspect, and I can't dismiss any of these cards because they're not the same aspect. So we're going to get rid of those 2 cards, move on to the minion now, and it says here in the minion phase, well, there's no hits on that. Boss phase, no boss on there. Then it's an event. So we're already now going a quarter of the way through our events here. So let's have a look at the events now. Okay. And this says, minions strike from the shadows. 1 player has got to cross through it, so we don't do this. That means I don't suffer a condition. If I had 2 dragons, the skull and crossbones mean conditions, and there's a condition deck here. And you would draw the top card, and it would give you various conditions. There we go, that one's good. No effect, destroy this card. But this one would go into my prep area, and on the aspect phase, I would have to choose the blue and then destroy this card, or take a hit and keep this card in my prep area. So these condition cards aren't great as you play through the game. So let's go back to this now. Okay, and here we go. It says for 1 player add 1 bad guy. So that's what we're going to do now. Then we'll take another one of these minions, and we've got a defender that's going to go on forest 4. So where's forest 4? Oh, it's just up there. And we're going to put one of these upturned magic tokens on there. So now, what I do next, I've only got 2 turns left effectively, because if you run out of the cards in the event deck, then what's going to happen is the game is going to end. It will add more when the bad guy's unveiled. Whew, okay, so clean up. There's nothing really to clean up on there, okay? And I didn't draw back up to my cards that I wanted 3. Discarded that. 1 second. Sorry, just got my hands mixed up there, and here we go. So these are my 6 cards for this turn now. Now I don't have any resources. I've got how many I've got? I've got 2 green, which allow me to gather and either attack or move. 1 red, which allows me to move. A star. Choose 1 dragon to gain 1 resource token of any type from the supply, and then 2 blue. That could be quite good. I've got to get 2 hits on this guy. Okay, I'm going to take some damage on this though, I think. Maybe not, okay? So the first thing we're going to do... don't quite have enough cards to do what I want to do. Okay, let's think this through. So I could gather, boost and move. Yeah, okay. But I have to discard that card. I am going to take a hit on this, okay? So we're going to play this card here, and I'm going to boost it. So let's get rid of this card to boost it. And this allows me then to gather, and I'm going to take, gather any 1 resource, it says. Sorry, it allows me to gather, so I'm going to take that and that, so I have 2 meat cards. There we go. You can see it's building up nicely. There we go. I'm actually going to play this as well, which allows me to gain 1 token of any type from the supply. So I'm going to take a coin, because I may well want to change aspect. So I've gathered, and then I get to move. But I only have 3 cards left. Doesn't really give me much to do there, and none left in my aspect. That's okay. I could spend these 2 meat tokens, there we go, and get 2 more cards from my pile. Oh, they're green cards. Not the best. Okay, not what I was wanting, but it will allow me to. I'm going to take a hit anyway, so this is good. This is good. All right, so I'm going to spend the coin, change the aspect to green. There we go. Well, it's not changed. It's only for this 1 card, should I say? And I'm going to gather first, and that gather allows me to take a meat token. There we go. And then I'm going to take the action that's on there, which is an attack. Now, if I attack this now, it's still going to attack me next turn because of the fact I'm not going to defeat it. It's got a defense of 2. So what I'm actually going to do is use that attack to take this magic token. So there's no effect on that guy, but it gives me another quest token. So I'm part way through now, 2/3 of the way through near, and now getting there. But that's it. That's the end of my go. Now, the aspect chosen was blue. So I've just moved that down there. I don't have any blue cards. I only have 1 more meat token here. I could use that to draw, but again, it's probably not worth it at this point. So that's kind of my go done. I know I'm going to take damage on this. Now, I'm out of cards now, so all you do, shuffle your deck. I've got 4 cards, so I just need to draw another 2. 1, 2. Okay, so I've got some growth potential there, basically. So yeah, that's my next turn. We go on to the minions now, and you can resolve them in any order. This one's not got anything on them. This one is going to attack me. It does an attack of 1, so I'm going to lose 1 of my health cards. That goes into my discard pile. It can come out again, and therefore I can build my health again if I'm in the right aspect. There's no boss, so now it's an event card. Well, we're down to the final 2, but I've only got 1 more to do before I unveil the boss. So let's have a look here. Minions strike from the shadows. Again, nothing on solo, but had it been 2 or more dragons, the dragon closest would suffer another condition. I get to add 1 more bad guy. So let's have a look where this bad guy is going to be. This bad guy is a giant on Mountain 2. So Mountain 2 is here. So suddenly this is getting overloaded now. So we're going to put that on there, and we're going to put an upturned token on there. So I know I can definitely unveil the boss if I defeat one of these. That one's got 2, probably the easiest. I don't have to defeat this guy, but if I move away from it, I'm going to take some injury. These are going to deal me injury anyway. And there we go. And that's a cleanup done there. We're on ready for the next round. And that's it. Just a couple of quick rounds to show you how quick the game plays. Now, I didn't really talk about what happens in the growth. As I say, you need the right amount of resources to buy these growth cards. So at any point, what I could have done using a growth card that I prepped is I could have effectively bought one of these cards if I'd had the right amount of resources, replaced a card in my deck with that card. That would have made me stronger. I'm on, say, scenario 2, and it's introduced trait cards. So I've chosen a card to replace, and I've got this stronger wild trait card here, which allows me to discard any number of cards in the upgrade path and replace them, and then perform a growth action. So that allows you to kind of clear the decks there, but there's a large number of trait cards that you can choose as you get stronger and stronger as well to do that. Now, had we unveiled the baddie, we'd have collected 3, flipped that card. It gives you some more flavor text there on what's happening. And then it says discard the quest tokens next to this card and magic tokens on the board. Each dragon may take a growth action as though they had just played a card, paying 2 fewer resources. So it's expecting you to have a bit of a battle here. You add 2 event cards to your deck, so my timer's extended a little bit. And I would have placed the boss figure on the cave, and that's this dude here. Okay, he would have placed on the cave, and then I would have flipped the card. I'll just put it that way. And it tells you something about this boss figure, and then exactly how they attack. So they have a 0 to 1 range. That is their square, their hex, and any adjacent hex they can attack, and a defense of 2, and they will do 1 damage. When you defeat him on this boss, leaves the map and it pops up elsewhere, so you've got to defeat this particular boss twice. It's quite a step up from the first scenario. Look, that's kind of a really brief overview on how to play games. It's dead simple to learn, but you get this wonderful challenge and your kind of RPG element. I really, really like what's happening here. Each game will take you 20 or 30 minutes, and that is utterly fantastic. So that is Flame Fang from MVP, designed by Michael Kelley and Peter Gousis. Dragons. It's got dragons. How bloody wonderful is that for Flame and Fang? You actually get to play dragons, going on quests, fighting monsters, fighting bad guys, upgrading, changing how you attack, farming resources, spending those resources for either their abilities or for the growth cards. You may take conditions, you're going to unlock secrets, you're going to unlock additional abilities as you play through the game. I think what really surprises me in a very positive way about this game is just how much is kind of packed into what is essentially, not a very big box. A lot of thought's gone behind kind of the storytelling here, making sure you have this overarching narrative that makes you feel connected to what you're doing. The gameplay obviously is more or less the same throughout it, but there are these kind of game-changing things that can happen either in the story decks or on the event decks, which can change how you play ever so slightly. The feeling you get when you work out that actually, I may not have the most optimal cards in my hand, but I've got some resources, I've got an ability that allows me to do X, Y, or Z, is really, really good. You can feel sometimes like you've because you played suboptimally before, that you're backed into a bit of a corner, but don't worry, generally there's a solution somewhere. It just requires some lateral thinking from you to get to that. Those resources, they're so easy to manage. In fact, there's only 3 types, and they have obviously a couple of possibilities as well. They allow you to use the abilities that they've got as resources, but also allow you to spend them to grow your, to curate your deck, and that is a true thing. A really good thing about this game is that, I'm not a huge fan of deck construction games or deck building games, etc. This is more deck curation, if you like, because you're not massively changing stuff out. It is a little bit deck construction, but it's deck curation, and making that decision to replace one card with another is really, really good. And you can pick and choose as and when you want to do that as well, and you are limited by the 4 cards that are in the offer unless you refresh that offer in one way or another. Growing your dragon throughout the adventures feels really good. You start off and you feel, okay, you'll do the first adventure and you'll possibly win that, and you'll think, yes. Suddenly you get a little bit kind of better. I'd say after the first scenario, you get to unlock traits. After the second scenario, you get to unlock magic. And there's more as you continue through the game. And I think that is really good, because a game like this needs a constantly evolving dimension to it, which, you can struggle in some games, which can play more or less exactly the same. This doesn't. Because of the unique nature of how you're kind of crafting and curating your deck for your dragon, it feels great. The board isn't massive, and that's a good thing as well, is that each game is quite compact, but very, very tight. It is a time-heavy game. Now, there are modifiers you can do to either extend or make the game harder for you. So you can increase the number, you can start with resources, or you can increase the event deck if you want to, if you want it easier. Or if you want it harder, you can add some of these secret cards in there. In the rules, it'll tell you which secret cards to add into there, which make it more difficult. Unlocking those secret cards is really good as you go through the game as well. And I say there's a full kind of deck of from A to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A to K, but there's a number of each one there that you get to unlock, which is really good. Again, changes what happens, how you think in the game, and how you're going to do it. Say 20-30 minutes per game on the earlier scenarios. It gets a little bit longer the more involved you get, but 20 to 30 minutes per game. It's a really good entry-level way into introducing people into kind of the way that potentially dungeon crawling, it's got a slight dungeon crawling aspect to it, and RPG, certainly with gathering resources and upgrading your abilities, works. It's really, I can see this being a big hit with families. But I also see people that are more experienced in games enjoying it for the fact that it's not overly complicated. The rules are so easy to learn, which is absolutely brilliant for this. You can teach this game in probably 5-10 minutes maximum while you're playing it, and within a couple of turns everybody will fully understand everything that happens on it. I played it with my wife. She thinks it's great as well. She's not overly into complex games, so this kind of hit the nail on the head for her in terms of that. It'd be great to potentially see kind of more events happening. Bear in mind, this is the prototype, so this is kind of the finished version. Everything that you see is the prototype. More events, different stories as well. The storybook deck is big. Here we go. Here's the rest of the storybook deck for all of the, how many is there? 8. 8. All of the 8 stories that you can take place on in that. And I suppose you can actually work it so that if you wanted to play one of those, you just go through and upgrade your character accordingly and then play that. So you could play chapter 8 on your own if you want. However, the real joy comes in kind of setting it up and working your way through this unfolding story. It'd be great to see expansion packs come out for that, little packs of cards, etc. that can come out for that give you other adventures, or maybe even make your own up as well. I really like this game. I think it hits what it's meant to do on the head so well. I think, if you're looking for a relatively easy to learn, accessible dungeon crawly RGP, is it RGP? RPG style game, then this is it. I can see it being a big hit, kind of pubs and game nights, etc. You play a couple of goes of this, and then you can move on to something else, or you end your night with it. Or if you just want to sit down and have that adventure, it's great. Now, as a solo player, there is true solo in here. Although I showed you true solo on the video, I prefer it at 2. It does change the difficulty a little bit, but it adds that interplay between the dragons as well, and it's nice to start doing some kind of flanking moves and moving around the board. So solo absolutely works, true solo works, but if you don't mind handling a couple of hands of cards, a couple of hands of decks, then 2-player is more than accessible. I've not played it above 2 on my own. I don't see any need to do that, but I do prefer it at 2-player than I do at true solo, but true solo absolutely works. So yeah, that was Flame and Fang, coming from MVP, designed by Peter Gousis and Michael Kelley. It's coming to Kickstarter on the 11th of October. Check out the link in the description below. If you think this kind of looks like it's going to scratch an itch and you're intrigued by it, then I know they're expecting a relatively quick turnaround on kind of shipping this as well. And go and check out the Kickstarter page. It's live now. You can register your interest, and then hopefully you'll want to back the game when it comes out. Really enjoyed my time with this. Thank you, Michael, for giving me this at Gen Con and let me come home and play it. It's a lot of fun to be had with this game. It just sings. Do you know when a game just hits the table and you want that kind of, that you want to feel like you're progressing and like you're doing something meaningful? This is that game. It just feels like every decision, every turn that you make, you're making meaningful choices that affect your later turns depending on the hand of cards that you got. I really love Fang and Flame. Flame and Fang, sorry. I really love Flame and Fang. I think it's a really great way to scratch your dungeon crawling RPG itch without having to read through 900 different rule books and spend 4 hours setting a game up and then 15 hours playing it and another 3 hours putting it away. Gives you that feel, the evolving map, the dragons. Play dragons. That's just awesome. Really, really like Flame and Fang. So thank you very much for joining me on this journey through Flame and Fang. I say from MVP, Peter Gousis and Michael Kelley, hitting Kickstarter on the 11th of October. The link is in the description below. Check it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out our other videos. And one final thought. If you can't find anyone else to play with, there's nothing wrong with playing with yourselves. Until next time, bye-bye.